In the Seto Inland Sea, there are places where the tide currents are so strong that waves rise and swirl. Without knowing the changing ebb flow, your boat may capsize or be swept away in no time.
Oh my god! It's really scary.
Especially the area around this island is like a river with a fast and violent current. Wow! In Japan's medieval period, the entire island was a sea castle. Those who built it were the Murakamis, maritime power holders of the Seto Inland Sea, known as the Japan's largest kaizoku. What is kaizoku? Today, kaizoku is translated as pirates in English, but the Murakami kaizoku were not pirates. Then who are they? In this episode, I will go to the Murakami Kaizoku Museum so I can find the treasure. I can find the history that the Murakamis left behind on the island. This island is called Noshima in Japanese. Here, Shima means island, and No is its given name. There were 3 Murakamis, Noshima Murakami, Innoshima Murakami, and Kurushima Murakami, who had power bases in different locations. While having a sense of belonging to the same clan, these Murakami lineages cooperated or opposed each other depending on the circumstances. By the way, many of us probably have an image of the Seto Inland Sea being like this. But this seemingly serene landscape may be deceiving us, as seen in the tides that flow around Noshima. The inland sea has many difficult spots depending on the time of the day or in different seasons to navigate. Murakami Kaizoku were maritime experts who knew the local sea very well. The inland sea had important trading network spots, and some areas were advantageous for military purposes. Without Murakami Kaizoku's support, maritime transport in the pre-modern archipelago would not have been possible. So, what exactly did Murakami Kaizoku do? One of the important roles was to maintain maritime security in exchange for tolls or some kind of payment. They guarded sailing ships and helped to keep order in the Seto Inland Sea. For example, the earliest historical record suggesting Murakami Kaizoku's activity is a 14th century document about Yugeshima Estate, a Seto Inland Sea island. The estate lord was Toji, a large Buddhist monastery, but it was in faraway Kyoto, and the estate was seized by local power holders. The document says that the Muromachi shogunate dispatched agents in 1349 to stop the illegal seizure and return the estate to the monastery. When the shogunate agents entered the estate, a payment was paid to the Noshima, the aforementioned power base of the Murakami Kaizoku. Based on this, historians believe that the Noshima Kaizoku ensured these agents' safe entry to the estate. In 1403, the Seto Inland Sea Kaizoku received a shogunate order to escort a Ming envoy ship. In 1586, the Noshima Murakami guaranteed the safety of Luis Flores, a Portuguese Catholic missionary, as he traveled from Sakai to Bungo. These examples show that Murakami Kaizoku cannot be translated into English as pirates. Unlike pirates, who attack ships and loot them, the Murakami Kaizoku were responsible for guarding and protecting the safety of the sea. Since ancient times, intense currents have been flowing between these islands. But to move from east to west across the archipelago, people had to pass through this area. Well, how did they ensure people's safe passage though? One method was uanori, which literally meant to ride on it. If you were a traveler, you could hire a kaizoku to ride on your boat. navigate you, and protect you. Also, if a ship headed west from the east had one Eastern Kaizoku on board, Western Kaizoku would not harm it. And if a ship headed east from the west had one Western Kaizoku on board, Eastern Kaizoku would not harm it. So, certain rules existed to prevent unnecessary conflicts. But it might be difficult to find a Kaizoku to come along all the time. Then there was another useful method. Louis Floyce recorded that after he negotiated with Lord Noshima, the Lord gave him a banner and told him, "Show this banner when you encounter a suspicious ship." This letter is the second Chinese character of Murakami, which the Noshima Murakami used as their emblem. Only 2 of such banners have survived until today, and this is one of them, which is made of silk and about 53 centimeters long and 45 centimeters wide. Now it's owned by the Yamaguchi Prefectural Archives. This note, which looks like this in printed form, tells that the banner was given to an Itsukushima Shrine official in Aki Province, today's Hiroshima Prefecture, on the 28th day of the 4th month in the 9th year of Tensho, or 1581 of the Common Era, by Takeyoshi, the leader of the Noshima Murakami. Below his name, he added his handwritten seal. So this is the receiver of the banner, and this is the sender. A banner like this is called kashoki or kashosenki, written like these in Chinese characters. Here, kasho means to go through the place or a travel path, and ki means a banner or flag. Here, sen means a ship, so kashosenki means a flag for a ship with a travel permit. By providing kashoki in exchange for a toll, the Murakamis guaranteed the safety of maritime traffic in the Seto Inland Sea. If having this flag will save my life and cargo, yeah, it's worth paying for it. But what happens if you try to get through the Murakami's power bases without paying at all? You will regret.
関所破りをした場合はボコボコにされるということ。
For example, in 1551, the ships of Lord Sue breached the Kaminoseki, a checkpoint to which Noshima Murakami had the right to collect tolls, and they continued to advance eastward.
継ぎ船っていうリレー形式で、野島と因島に情報が行って、
継ぎ船 were boats that connected from port to port and made it possible to send information to remote areas quickly. Noshima Murakami and the Innoshima Murakami sent 80 ships to retaliate against the ships that broke the checkpoint. They ambushed those ships at Kamagari and defeated them. An effective weapon that the Murakamis used looked like this, which was called horoku. Since we don't have any surviving horoku examples, its true nature is a mystery. But Murakami Kaizoku probably threw it into an enemy ship, like a hammer throw. According to the source called Gobu Santo Ryu Shusen Yoho, a horoku was a weapon that was a sphere made of heavy paper or iron and filled with several small balls containing gunpowder materials such as potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal. Murakami Kaizoku also joined larger-scale military conflicts. A famous example is the first battle of the mouth of the Kizu River in 1576, when they were dispatched by the Lord of Aki Province, Mori Terumoto, and fought against the Oda Nobunaga's force, one of the formidable military powers that time. The task assigned to the Murakamis was to deliver provisions to Osaka Honganji, the Buddhist monastery later known as Ishiyama Honganji, by using horoku fire arrows and burning down the enemy's fleet. The Mori side broke through the Oda's force that surrounded the mouth of the Kizu River, and successfully delivered the provisions to the monastery. During the Edo period, Murakami Kaizoku, with such excellent fighting skills on water, eventually acquired a new nickname, Suigun. Suigun literally means water troops. Then in modern times, the Imperial Japanese Navy began calling Murakami Kaizoku Murakami Suigun as their predecessor in their naval research and education. Their military might, however, was only one of the Murakami Kaizoku's abilities. They enjoyed cultural activities like performing a tea ceremony, appreciating the art of incense burning, and composing linked verses called renga. For example, they composed renga and dedicated them to the Oyamazumi Shrine in Omishima, the island in the Seto Inland Sea. Various types of Chinese and Korean ceramics were excavated from the Noshima Castle site, suggesting the Murakami Kaizoku's economic power. Additionally, from Michikajima, a neighboring island of Noshima, a large number of expensive Chinese ceramics have been found, indicating a possibility that Murakami Kaizoku participated in trading activities. And look at these! From both Noshima and Michika Islands, many coins were excavated. Also, many of this type of items were unearthed from the Noshima Castle site. What are these? Yeah, they are tools for fishing. This letter sent on the 29th day of the 12th month suggests that coins and seafood played important roles for the Murakami. It was addressed to Murakami Kagechika by the sender Mori Terumoto. And here, Terumoto was thanking Kagechika for giving him a year-end gift. What did Kagechika give? These characters mean bronze, but in this context, they referred to copper coins. And this is hyaku or 100 in English. And this is read as hiki, which is an old Japanese counterword. As I said, this referred to a unit of coins. And this means oysters. And this means one bucket. So, in addition to coins, Kagechika sent a bucket of oysters as a seasonal gift to his powerful ally, Terumoto. In other words, catching seafood not only enriched their diet, but also played a political role. Fishing must have been one of the important activities for the Murakami Kaizoku, who are based at the Noshima Castle. Well, it must have been a critical spot for them, but what kind of place was it exactly? In fact, Noshima Castle straddles two small islands, including Noshima and an even smaller island called Taizakijima, making it a very unusual sea castle. On both islands, the hills have been flattened at the top. Especially here at Noshima, multiple tiers were created. We call the highest level Honmaru, the second level Ninomaru, and the third level Sannomaru. I found the Ninomaru most interesting because recent excavations found not only building structure ruins, but also many items like pots, jars, and grinding bowls that are used for cooking and preserving food. This indicates that people here had a quite stable life. In comparison, from the highest tier, which was usually the central section of a Japanese castle, archaeologists found only one small building from holes dug in the ground in which pillars were erected. Interestingly, however, large quantities of unglazed earthenware were excavated. In medieval times, this type of pottery was often discarded after a single use. What is going on here? Well, I don't want to give away everything. It's a time for you to visit the museum, so you can see it with your own eye. A lot more about Japanese Kaizoku is available at this museum, such as Kaizoku armors, weapons, and ships. Experiencing the fast currents around the Noshima castle site and riding on waves near other Murakami Kaizoku territories? Yes, you can do it by visiting two spots, Miyakubo and Yoshiumi, on the island where the museum stands. Don't forget to check the high tide time of the day so you can have the most scary but exciting moment. Thank you for watching and see you in future episodes.